And I'm recording. It's been a while. Okay. What am I doing today? The first thing you do is interrupt what I'm doing and make it so that I'm not hearing myself as I speak. I do it to make sure my mic is good. I got a new mic, so that should make things better. Let me fix it. No, wait. Okay. There we go. Now it should be fine. Okay. Now I'm not hearing myself more than usual. I have a friend in the background.
Excuse me?
Oh
What
boy.
did you call me?
Oh boy. I got married. I don't think they should be knowing that. Alright, moving on. Okay, what are we talking about? What am I talking about? It's been a while. People said that you guys liked my videos, so I'm doing more of them. What were y'all asking for? Beginner's guide. I'll do a fleet update first, and then probably a guide just for people to what should I get? What am I doing? And so let's do that. So the first thing is a fleet update. Blah, blah, blah. So, alright. So here's my Morpheus fleet. It hasn't really changed a whole lot. I got YZ. What do you call that? Yiz? I don't know. It's fine. Right. Quick review of it. There's a thunderstorm. Sadly, you can't hear any of the thunder. I wish I could fix that, but then you could hear all the clicks and stuff. But this thing is kind of good and kind of bad. It looks really pretty. That's not relevant, but no, it just has no health, and I still have to make sure that it won't die. So I'm still working on upgrading it so it doesn't die all the time. But yeah, it's good because of this. No, I lied. Because of this. Yeah, 17% more damage, and that makes my Nonzies do a lot of damage. Good old Cepheus. This is in flux. I'm just using these for right now. Everything else is the same. These are all the same for now. I might put evasions on them so they last longer. Nothing else has changed down here. I got this. What is this supposed to be originally? Flamingo Aurora. Yeah, this thing's pretty cool. This is helpful, especially the bottom row here for formation row gets a lot more damage. And this is every, I think it's like 18 seconds, so 133. So 7, so 133 divided by 7 is 19 seconds. So every 19 seconds is when I get the buff for it. And it has a fair amount of slots for it, surprisingly. So let me see here. Yeah, it's got pretty good amount of HP as well. So yeah, it's not that bad. This is the biggest thing though. You get a lot more evasion for all of it, so that would really help out along with this as well. And then doesn't this get more evasion? Doesn't he get more evasion somewhere? Yeah. So 1,000, so 1,500. Yeah, right here. Cool. That is cool. So that's done. The second fleet now, I have named it Solar Flare because that is a cool name. Yeah, it's different. I don't know what it was before, but I guess this with stuff on it. Hermes, which is finally maxed and has finally maxed weapons on it. This thing's pretty good. It's still absolutely very weak, but that's there. Nero, which I've called nuclear. This thing is still awesome. I either want to talk about it in this video or make a whole other video about Nero, because people kind of divided over it. I want to talk about it because it got changed and there's a few things to keep in mind. And then, of course, Star Patroller. Yeah, it's also very pretty. I'll be honest, they did the ship models really well. They look really good. Especially I remember I specifically asked to get this skin, the Imperator skin, because this came out for Augustus, and I was like, this looks awesome. So this came out, and I was like, hey, we need one for Nero. And then they got one. I don't think they did it for me. They might have already had plans for it, but I know I helped. So yeah, it looks cool. I don't even like white and gold, but this looks really good. So I like all this. Anyways, I got Sec. Sec is super important. And I got a Jin, finally. Excuse me. Absolutely no upgrades on it. Nothing. But better than nothing. Hestia. Yeah. So I'm working on getting this back out where it should be. And that's it. I got Flame Peak because it was cool and it was on, and I like that eventually I can make it so that I get an extra, it's like 10 to 50% more damage if we kind of upgrade it all the way. So I kind of like having it, and it's nice to have another, another Dreadnought. Yeah. It also does do, this guy's penetration, which is pretty good as well. So I figure it's a good sidekick for Aether. And that's it. Yep. So that's my overview. Make a long story short is these four are my main damage dealers. This mostly helps the whole fleet because of the armor penetration. Sec makes the rest of the battleships do a lot more damage, and Jin, so basically Gust is double boosted because I have Jin on it, and Hestia. So yeah, but I wanted to show you guys how I've been doing in Ultimate Warzone. So this is Zelk. He's a super nice guy, but I've been training with him for the past couple months. He's kind of another one of those people, like one of my markers. So like, you know, if how I'm progressing with time. So if he's doing better than me, then I need to catch up. If he's doing worse than me, then I'm doing good, or, you know, something like that. So this is total damage dealt. So obviously, no shocker there. I don't know why. So maybe someone else knows better than me, but sometimes I have the Nazi just do more damage than the rest of them for some reason. I don't know why either, because I don't have anything that's boosting it. You know, nothing that boosts anything specifically. I just don't. It just ends up doing a ton more damage. I don't know why. But it beats Cepheus, and handily beats Augustus, so I'm not sure. Anyways, you can see here, like, Augustus and then Hermes were followed by Star Patroller and Nero, so it's interesting, just kind of pay attention to how, you know, you get a good, because not a lot of people are sharing their damage compared to other ships, so I was really kind of surprised. It's not a huge gap, and again, this is double boosted. If I boosted this, it would be more damage. Now, it's better in the long run because it has penetration, so if the harder it gets, the more damage it'll do. That's a great example of that, by the way. Okay. Yeah, Nero took the cake, beating out my Augustus by itself, no accuracy. Like, this is basically pure skill. Not skill, but the skill damage. Like, this is a tank ship, followed by the Augustus and then Hermes and Star Patroller. It's really because Star Patroller is really heralded as this crazy thing, and it is really good, but like, I didn't think Hermes could do as good as it does. But yeah, I mean, Nero dusted all of them in this match. Like, it wasn't really even close. Interesting. I should start comparing them though, because if you could just bypass shield, because that's weird. This is a missile ship, but yet it does the most damage towards shields when it's not supposed to do that. That's interesting. So I think maybe I should make a video about that too. But there's a difference between, because I look at damage to rank stuff, but honestly, like, hull damage is kind of more important because you can because it takes into consideration, you know, missiles and stuff that penetrate through shields. Cepheus is 2.2, Arch is a lot higher. Then we have Star Patroller and Hermes. Let's go back up again. Yeah, I don't know why it still does a lot more for some reason, but I guess that's more within spec. But none of these died either, so I don't really understand why there'd be a discrepancy like that. And then this Cepheus. So, and then Hermes. It's interesting. That's interesting. Hmm. Yeah, I have no idea why in the world the two of them. Did I die? No. Yeah, I don't know why. This one just was losing cap its damage for some reason. So that's a thing. So I'm just showing you guys some examples of it. I thought I lost to somebody. I know I have it saved somewhere. Maybe it's down here. Yes. So yeah, I lost to this guy. Back. Stop. Damage. So Augustus, Hermes, Nero. And that's kind of same ranking. Counting. See if he's doing the most damage, which is rare. Yeah, this is more what I would end up expecting. You guys can see that like an Anansi does more damage than my Cepheus. I mean, than my Augustus even. So don't sleep on Anansis. Everybody keeps talking about them being weak, and yeah, they're weaker than something else that's more crazy. But for the price and the leadership, and the fact that there's so many cheap ways to boost them, it's a no-brainer. So sorry, a lot of what they're saying. It's funny because it's not. I don't want to say they're wrong because they are right. In the very end, you should just do nothing but Augustus, and that's the best build. But as far as investment with resources and time and effort and stuff, Nazis are a good investment and are probably a better investment anyways. You get 3 Nazis cheaper than you can get 2 maxed out Augustuses. Anyways. They're all kind of pretty close there. Yeah, I was hoping to show more of when Nero would just solo so much stuff by itself. I was just kind of surprised sometimes. I think that was all I had. But it would also last the longest, of course. There we go. So an example of that. Like just I have Jin and Essia and Nero dusted Augustus. Did that happen the next time I did that? Let's see, because I think it really is and so here's why that happens sometimes. Either it's a glitch but the point really is that you have this skill plus this. So it's 140% damage, which is literally having 2.5 of them extra for damage for absolutely no reason to cruise and dreadnought. So what I'm assuming is that they have a cruiser, and this just happens to hit one of like a cruiser or a dreadnought and just wipes out his shield. But yeah, and this doesn't miss either, which is really helpful. But yeah, so and like there are some good missile ships. I do really think that Nero, like a Nero fleet, would really be pretty. I know they used to run that. I think it's still not as good as Augustus because you get penetration. That sounds bad. Resistance penetration. And I think I need better weapons too. But I just moved these to missiles. They were connects before, so I don't know. But yeah, because you can also get another 26% more damage on top of that. So even when it's losing, it's not even boosted either. So like if you had another 30% more damage on top of whatever the scores were, I mean that's definitely you can end up winning. So let's see, is that one? Yeah, that is one that it was at the top. But this was actually close too. But yeah, I mean, if you just add 30% to this, obviously 653 times 1.3 is 848, and it would pretty clearly beat it really well. But you see how much, not this, but yeah, 6.5, yeah. See how much shield it just destroyed. It's ridiculous. You know what, though? That's a good thing that we should also talk about. We should talk about that. About how missiles are supposed to go underneath shield and bypass shield. However, sub-weaponry strikes always have to hit shield, which is an interesting kind of balance there. I didn't think about that. That's interesting. Theoretically, it's better to just have 100% shield penetration and then just ignore part of the health, and that would be very good against things like this. That's obviously why Nero is pretty darn strong, because it's not split up. It's mostly HP, whereas this can be skipped with missiles because it's 50% through. That's interesting. That is interesting. The problem is that there really aren't very good missile ships. Because this is good. This is a good tank ship that can happen to do a lot of damage, but it's not a good missile ship. There's only 3 units, and it's so much better suited as a tank ship. So okay, let's talk about Nero. Let's talk about Nero now. Let's talk about Nero. Yeah, Nero is definitely have a resurgence lately, just because it's kind of cheap and it's a really good damage ship and it's a really good tank. It's not a good. Okay, well, I take that back. It does good damage, but the units don't make a difference. So you can't don't bother with accuracy. Everything relies on its sub weapon, the sub cannon. It's that and this, and that gets so much of your damage. Yeah, I mean, but frankly, everything else like this is all kind of useless. I mean, the accuracy is just so darn low. I mean, like really low. I don't think this thing has an accuracy. So it does have that's actually a pretty big accuracy boost there. That's actually not bad, but it's not nearly enough though. I mean, it needs to be like 25 for it to be remotely considerable. 14, 15, 16. It should be around 16, probably more than that though, really. Obviously, this is going to get double that, so let's see. So that's going to be 7, so it'll be like 23? So that's 23,000 when it gets doubled in here. Yeah. Yeah, but the damage out of this thing is crazy. Yeah, I'm really curious. There's a lot of balance going on here, but let's keep talking about Nero. I know I keep going back and forth, but it has a ton of good armor slots, so you can build for health, and then build for the amount, so you get more for HP, and then you can get the regular version, which gives you just more actual resistances. and then you just want evasion and maybe an extra kinetic system or something like that. But that's it. You want a good engine, just because you get a big health bonus from it, and that's it. But yeah, no, that's the thing. Nero is, the numbers speak for themselves. They do a lot of damage. It's comparable to a freaking maxed out Star Patroller with stupid amounts of resistance. I mean, with accuracy, which should give you penetration, resistance, penetration. So I'm just saying, even with all this, right? Double accuracy, mostly maxed lasers, it still falls short or ties Nero. And that would be a simple fix. All I have to do is really just swap it out, and that would be it. You know, just put this in the middle, and that would take care of that. But, you know, but it's not worth it though, because it's okay. I lied. This will no longer work because it's the weapon damage only and not missile damage. That is annoying. So I have to take that back. This is no longer good for a flagship. It's not. This is not worth it because it doesn't buff its own sub-cannon damage unless you got something else. That is disappointing. So that is Nero. Oh yeah, I just want to quickly talk about and I have to do more of that special video for it, but yeah, it's a lot to balance. You have to balance, figure out like, okay, do you have a tank killer? Do you have a regular damage dealer? So it's like, okay, which was which? And the question is like, how much accuracy do you need? Is it worth it in order to get the resistance penetration? And that depends, of course, on the target. So like, this is going to have a ton of evasion. Okay, not this one. Okay, not that one. That one is, or this one is. I think like Cadith has. I moved things around, so it probably has changed. But that's not nearly enough either. It needs to be like 15 or so, but. Anyways. But yeah, so like 15, you need to be, I think, 7 over, or is it 10 over? It needs to be like, I think, 7,000 accuracy over whatever your target is to do 100% damage, and then everything after that gives you percentage penetration. So you need to have like, so really this is the only one that does it, really. And then you're just hoping to have enough damage, enough accuracy just to kind of have parity, so you're dealing damage towards your tank, to tank ships. And then funny enough is like, good thing against tank ships would be your sub-cannon slot, because they never miss. But they'll have to eat through all of their health. So that's the thing you should think about. It's just this kind of things. It's like, okay, you have accuracy, so you have the hit rate, which is a big deal, right? Because even if you have like this maxed, is probably the same hit rate as a tank ship. 15,000 is probably pretty close to like what a tank ship should be. So you're only doing 30% damage. Theoretically. That's it. Which isn't very good. But that 30%, of course, has built-in resistance penetration with Augustus. Or at the same time, the sub-cannon, again, doesn't miss. You do the full damage, but you don't get any benefits whatsoever from that. So the side becomes that, so it's like, okay, what's the fastest way to chew through everything else once you hit tank ships? Or, if you're able to hit a shot on one of these, like, what hurts the most, right? So they would end up being like this, because you have 15,000 in the average ship evasion is like 5,000. That's a tank ship combo though. That'd be like, 5 to 6,000 for someone better than me. Okay, so 6 is 12, 7. So you're able to do like 100% damage, which is perfect. So that's basically if you hit something other than a tank ship, this should do the most damage because you have full damage and you have resistance penetration. Second thing would be this, because you have full damage, plus hopefully you'll have, without accuracy, you can have resistance penetration from the accuracy itself. And that's the thing. I think that this makes it more, it's just better because you have to be so much accuracy above a certain amount in order for it to apply. But this just has it inbuilt. Every shot's going to have this. Yep. And that's why, I guess this is simply the best damage ship in the game. It's just like, that's it. Because that's built in, and then it has, if you're firing at tank ships, you'll still have, parity So you'll be able to deal 30% more damage compared to 15 or 10% for those who have less. So it's just interesting. I just wanted to just mention that it's not a simple thing. It's not. And there's a lot of things to think about how to deal with damage and what you're dealing damage to. All that matters. So I want to make sure that was mentioned. That's what this does so well. Sorry, is this. Having, like, you're just halving their armor. Which, like, even for Nero. What's that, 40%? So 7 to 1 times 1.4 is 10. So this goes from 10,000 armor to 5,000 armor. And everything else goes, like less than that, like 3,000 armor to 1,500. 3 to 1,500. I mean, that's a big deal here. That's probably why it does so much damage as well as this right here. So this is a good damage ship. It really is, and it's also a good flagship because of this. It gets tacked on. Anyways, so that is that. I want to discuss some new ships that we got in the manual. If you can get this, I recommend getting it. It's not as strong as it looks like it is. I mean, that would be insane for Nero, but we'll end up seeing. It's not as simple as that. It also depends on how strong, like how long it's going to live for, but let's see, 4, 3, it's a lot. That's too many weapons, really. It really should be more of a support ship, but we shall see. We shall see. So that's Milano. These all got skins now, so it's not just Christmas. Yay! This finally got one. I actually have this one. So, no longer Christmas. Yay. This actually looks pretty cool. This is actually a good ship to use, too. It's pretty darn strong. Because it has a bunch of resistance penetration. Go figure. This came out. It's cool. This isn't maxed out. 3L, 3M. That's pretty good. So you get... It's pretty good for tanking and damage, too. You get almost twice as much health, a lot more resistance. Let's see, what's the armor on it? Yeah, that's not a bad stat at all. Actually, you can have 1, and then 2, and then use this for armor. It's not bad. 100%, 108% damage, and 180. So you have 220% damage plus 40% armor penetration. That's good. And 40% is pretty darn high. And it's also 50% because you get Hermes flagship buff. So that's actually not bad at all. This would be a pretty good ship. No lie. That'd be a good ship. The problem is that it is capped at level 80, I think. I think it's capped at level 80. Let me double check though. What does this one say? Yeah, so that one's capped at level 80, which is a big problem compared to this. Yes, this is straight up, 200% more damage, resistance. That's a pretty good stat package there. It's also got good weapons for its size. I mean, it's kind of ridiculous how much this has. I do wish that I'm coming with a skin for it. I just don't like the way it looks. So that, Milano came out. It's been out for a while, but it's been also in a video, so. So this is what you need for Nero. But I haven't got it yet, so I can't get the whole information on it. Fun. So really, you should have this and the destroyer. You can get a really strong non-Z fleet. Really, that's what you need. Yeah. 20% more armor, and 40% more damage, plus 500 evasion. That's pretty darn strong. Yeah, so that's it's quite good. That's a lot of accuracy. It's a good amount of actually a lot of armor. Wow, that's actually pretty darn good. Hold on, what's the total damage? So, 120 plus, that's 220% more damage. And 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah, that's also pretty darn strong as well. So we got some strong ships nowadays that you can pick them. You just have to really wait to get them. I heard this thing is a beast for evasion. Not the damage. Evasion. That's actually not bad at all, because yeah, if you have 1500, so you can get this to around, I think it's like 1200 or so pretty easily. And if you're a pro, of course, it'd be a lot higher than that. But 1200 times 8.8 times 0.8 is 1000 extra evasion, which is pretty good. And you got 5 here, so 5, 5. That's a pretty balanced package as well. So, but yeah, I've heard that this is actually kind of like end game meta tank. Yep. And there's this thing. No one has it yet, so we have no idea what it's going to be like, but our first Kara ship finally exists. Go figure. So hopefully we'll see that. Maybe I can beg them and get me a copy and I can do a review on it. That would be a good idea. And that's it. Yep. Try to see. I'm trying to think of all the ships that buff. Honestly, just throw a Jin on a Nero fleet. Call it a day. Nope. Hey, what is with this thing? Like, 3, 3, 3, and 3, and then 140% more damage, 145 more damage for no reason. So that's 250% more damage plus 50% accuracy for literally no reason, and that's not great. But it's not. It's bad actually. No, it's pretty bad. That should be an M. So it's like a not Nero ship. That's basically what it is. Anyways. That's my video for today. It's mostly just, hello, I'm back, and that's it. I could just sit here and hit record and ramble on. Anyways, you're welcome. Goodbye.